When it comes to training for muscle growth, there's nothing worse than wasting your time. The problem is, sometimes building muscle feels like solving a puzzle, and you're not even sure you've got the right pieces. One week you crack the code, the next week somebody changed the lock. Luckily, I've got 6 key points that when followed properly, will always unlock the door to gains. And then, you'll never have to wonder if you're wasting time ever again. What's up everyone, it's Jason. I'm here again to show you guys how to grow no matter your circumstances. I'm always going to be showing you guys ways to grow, to build muscle, and not let your life or your job or other circumstances get in the way of that. So with that said, a big part of that is understanding what works and how to track your progress, how to know you're on the right track, how to not waste time. Because when you're busy, your training time is very valuable. So with that said, let's get into those 6 key points. Now, these points aren't secrets. You're probably well aware of them, but maybe you've never looked at them in this light before. And if you do, you'll be able to get a way more clear picture of your training effectiveness. And then you can ditch all the muddled confusion jumping back and forth between different programs and styles based on what YouTube video you watched that week. So here we go. The 6 keys are: 1. Progressive overload. 2. Training intensity. 3 is your training technique. Number 4 is your body's recovery. Number 5 is your diet. And number 6, last but absolutely not least, is your consistency. And now that I've gone over those 6 keys, I know what you're all thinking. Hey man, we all know this. Like I said earlier, we are going to view these in a new light. So no, because so many people already know how important these things are, I'm not gonna go over all of them in depth. That's unnecessary for our purposes here. I will go over them briefly for some people that don't understand or for just a refresher, but my goal here is to change your thinking on these 6 keys. What I am asking you guys to do is to use these 6 key points not as just reminders, but as guideposts, as roadmaps. If you follow these 6 key points and grade yourselves on them, you will know how fast you are achieving progress. You will know if for your body's own genetic ability, are you leaving things on the table or are you progressing as fast as you possibly can? Because like I said in previous videos, you should not be comparing yourself to other people's progress. It is different for each person. So if you look at these 6 key points as a roadmap to your progress, you will know if you are progressing linearly or if you are, up and down. So without further ado, let's just quickly go over why these 6 keys really matter for building muscle. Number 1, progressive overload. We can fly through this one. There is an abundance of literature that shows why progressive overload is crucial for building muscle. Overloading the muscle with greater demands over time is going to recruit more muscle fibers, and it is going to signal to the muscle, hey, you need to grow, you need to increase. Progressive overload is the most foundational principle when it comes to building muscle. Now, number 2, training intensity is super crucial as well. The reason being is if you're not training hard, if your training is not intense and taxing and challenging, how do you know that your progressive overload is real? Just because you're adding 5 to 10 pounds on the bar each week doesn't mean that that's a tough challenge for you. So yes, without intensity, you are not challenging yourself appropriately and your progressive overload might be fugazi.
Fugazi, it's a wazi, it's a woozy, it's a fairy dust. It doesn't exist.
Number 3, training technique. This is also very crucial for some of the same reasons as intensity. And that is because, say your intensity is high and you are progressively overloading, but your technique stinks. If that's the case, you're not appropriately targeting the muscles, you're just kind of figuring out a way to lift more weight like a power lifter. But if you were trying to grow muscle, technique is crucial.
Technique.
Because if your technique is failing on certain lifts, you are shifting away the stimulus on the targeted muscle to some other muscle to help you just get the weight up. Now, number 4, we can go over this quickly because I hope a lot of you know and understand the importance of recovery. Now, just to drop a little bit of knowledge here, recovery does not just mean that you're not sore anymore. In fact, you could still be sore and technically, according to literature, be ready to lift again. We just need to really make sure that we are focusing on rest and sleep, which falls under recovery. Because as we all know, you do not build muscle when you're breaking it down in the gym. You build muscle when you are resting and recovering. Number 5 is your diet. And for our purposes, we're talking about building muscle. So when I say diet, I mean your calorie surplus. If you are not eating in a calorie surplus, you are not going to ever build muscle as effectively as you can. And number 6, this is the master key to your gains. And that key is the key of consistency. I'm not talking a year, 2 years. I'm talking if you want your dream physique, you could be talking up to 10 plus years of consistency. I am talking a very long time. That's a hard pill to swallow, but it's the truth.
You can't handle the truth!
So if you are consistent in all of the things we have just talked about, you can achieve your dream physique. Now, life will try to get in the way, but if you are consistent for 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 plus years, those little things that get in the way are never going to be a match for long-term consistency when it comes to building muscle. Now that we've gone over the 6 keys, let's talk about a way that you guys can grade yourself on all 6 of these so that you can know without a shadow of a doubt that you are growing at the maximum pace and potential that you physically and genetically can. Okay, so you'll take a look at your 6 keys. Then what you want to do is be honest with yourself. You are only selling yourself short if you're lying to yourself. Grade yourself out of 10 for how well you are following or applying each of these 6 categories to your training regimen and routine. For example, if you don't track macros or calories, you are at least a 4 or below for diet. If you don't get 8 hours of sleep a night, you are at least below a 5 or a 6 for recovery. Now, I should mention here the 6th key because it has a different grading system and style. For the 6th key, what you will do is, again, grade yourself out of 10, the same as the others, but then you will take that number and divide by 10. So say I scored an 8 out of 10 for consistency, I would divide 8 by 10, then I would have 0.8. That's your math lesson for the day. So then that 0.8 number is what I will call your consistency multiplier. So what you will do with that multiplier is you will add up the totals for all of the 5 categories before consistency, and then you will take that number and multiply it by your consistency multiplier, and then that multiplier will curve the grade of your other categories. Now, the reason we do this is because say your other scores were great, but you have had really bad consistency. Well, that's going to curve your score negatively because, like I said, none of these things matter unless you've been doing it for a really long time. So for example, say I scored a 40 out of 50 on keys 1 through 5, and my consistency multiplier was that 0.8. That means my overall score would be a 32 out of 50. Now that changes a lot, doesn't it? But now with that consistency multiplier, it really puts it into perspective. You're only a 32 out of 50 because your consistency wasn't maximal. Really what I'm trying to show you here is that you need to really boost your consistency number. If you can say your consistency is 10 out of 10, then that means you would have a consistency multiplier of 1, meaning that if you scored 40, your overall would be 40 out of 50. So if your consistency is perfect, then really all you need to do is make sure that you are hitting those other 5 markers. Consistency is king, guys. Consistency is the master key that will unlock all of your gains as long as everything else is in check. So with that said, guys, be honest with yourself when you're using this grading system. And I'm telling you, it will reveal for you a lot about your potential and your pace of growth. Now, if you guys like this grading system, if you guys like this approach, go ahead and throw me a comment or a like. I'm a new channel, so I'd really love some feedback. If my stuff sucks, then tell me. If my stuff is good, then tell me. If you want me to delete my account and never show my face ever again, you can tell me that too. I probably won't listen. All right, guys, I really hope that this can be helpful for somebody out there who is wondering about their progress and who's rubber banding and bouncing all around YouTube, looking for different things and confused why they're not growing as fast as other people. With this, you can really know without a shadow of a doubt that you are doing all that you can, and you just have to trust the process. All right, guys, thank you so much. I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace out.